Hi, Craig Howard here again this morning. Um, just want to share a thought with you. Back during World War II, after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, there were a rash of engagements that took place. Like boyfriends and girlfriends were getting engaged as guys were getting ready to ship out, and they were shipping out on a moment's notice, not knowing when they were going to be able to get back, not knowing when they were going to be able to see their girlfriend again, not knowing when they were going to be able to get married. And so the fiancés, the girlfriends, would plan the wedding, waiting for their boyfriend, their fiance, um, to get enough leave built up to where he could come home. But she never knew when that was going to be. And so they would plan the wedding. They would make the invitations, but they wouldn't put the date on the invitations. And they would wait until they would get a message, usually handwritten, that would say, go ahead and get that dress. It's time, and I'm on my way home. And then as soon as the fiance would come home, they would immediately have everything set up, and the date would, the invitations had gone out, and they would have the wedding, usually on pretty short notice. Well, the Bible tells us in First Peter chapter 3, verses 10 and 11, that the Lord is coming back, and that the Lord will return, and the earth will be destroyed with a roar. And then it goes on down to the latter part of verse 11, and it says, since the earth is going to be destroyed in this way, you ought to live godly and holy lives. In other words, it says, since this is going to happen so fast, when Christ comes back, it's going to happen so fast, you need to be living today like you're ready for that to happen. You can't be waiting, hoping that, okay, when Christ comes back, I'm going to have time to get everything straightened out. The Bible says Christ is going to return, and when he returns, it's going to be like that. And you're not going to have a moment, you're not going to have an opportunity to say, oh, God, forgive me for the way I've been living. We're living in a time in our world today where everybody is just kind of living for themselves. Morality is out the window. Drugs, alcohol use, even among Christians, is hugely on the rise. Drugs are being used. Infidelity, immorality, unfaithfulness, the idea that the marriage vows are sacred before God and holy before God, they're being forgotten and just cast aside on a whim. And it makes me wonder, if Christ were to come today. The Bible says we should be living godly and holy lives. But how many, even of God's people, are taking that to heart and living godly and holy lives, living in a way that Christ is honored by their life, that when people look at that person and they listen to the language they speak, and they look at the way they live, and they look at the entertainment they're involved in, and they look at what they're putting in their bodies, they say, that person is a Christian, that person is different, that person is living for Christ. That's becoming a rarity even among God's people, and it's sad. It's no wonder that we're seeing such a decline in young, especially teenagers, that are actively involved in a relationship with Jesus Christ. Statistics say less than 20% of the teenagers today go to church regularly. It says less than 3% have a active, intimate relationship with Christ. And so, we're in that sort of a situation where that's what we're faced with, and yet we're not heeding the warning to live godly and holy lives before him. So, something for you to think about today as you go about your life. Ask yourself the question, if Christ comes back today, and you say, well, we've been hearing about that for years, I don't believe it's ever going to happen. What if it does? What if it happens today? What if Christ comes back today? Are you ready to face that? Are you living a godly and holy life before him? Something to think about. Listen, I hope you have a great day today. I will talk to you, Lord willing, tomorrow. Bye.